Hi and welcome to Thriver TV, the place to break free from narcissistic abuse with quantum tools and understandings. And this week's Thriver TV show is another one about clearing our susceptibility to narcissists. And this one is not as obvious as the others, but I promise you it is just as insidious and as powerful. And this one is about not being able to receive. And not being able to receive is a really common society setup because we've been taught that being a giver is a beautiful thing to do. It's being benevolent and charitable and Christian, and it's what decent people do, is that they give a lot more than what they receive. And we might think that that's really, really healthy. But we need to understand that it isn't, and I'm going to explain why, and I'm going to explain how it plays out, how it got set up, and then what the significance is in regard to narcissistic abuse with it. So, giving and receiving is really a beautiful symphony. It's a beautiful energy of, if you think about breath, which is the most simplest statement of life force on our planet, that it's a breathing in, it's a breathing out, it's a giving and a receiving. And if we think of our relationship with plants, which is that we're breathing out carbon dioxide, they're breathing that in, they're breathing out oxygen, we're breathing that in, and we have this beautiful ecological system of giving and receiving. And the same goes with relationships, is that the healthiest relationships are a beautiful balance of giving and receiving. And if we're not okay with receiving, what it really means is at a deepest level, we can feel really guilty. We feel like we're not worthy or that we don't deserve. Or we feel that to earn our place in the world, that we have to earn the right to receive, and we have to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting to be able to get something back for what we're doing. And what that means is that we're just not comfortable with things like getting compliments or people offering us help with things. So, we might be moving house and somebody will say, oh, look, I'll come and help you. And you go, no, I'll be fine. And you're actually not. But you feel like it's really wrong to receive. Or somebody says to you, I love your hair, and you say, oh, I don't know about the colour. You always minimalize it or dismiss it. And I admit, that I still have to work on things like that. That can be a struggle for me, as it is for a lot of us that have been or are being narcissistically abused. And what it also means is that if we're not good at receiving, it means that we're struggling to connect to asking for what we need. And it's so important in relationships, is to be able to show up authentically and be in our body and connected with our truth, and knowing what our truth is, what our limits are, what our boundaries are, what we need, to feel connected and to feel true, and to be able to have those really honest conversations with somebody, absolutely authentically and appropriately, to be able to ask for what we need. And that, so that we can inspire and motivate people to, step up for us and to, step into us and to connect with us in a giving and a receiving mode. And if we're not able to connect into our bodies, what we're more likely to do is to be looking to the outside and saying, well, what can I give this person so that they love me? What can I do to earn their love? And we might be not realizing that we're giving, trying to get, and it's not coming back. And this is an everyday life where this is happening, can be happening with us with all sorts of things. And we feel like the martyr. We feel like in our relationships that if we weren't making the effort or the contact, or if we weren't trying to connect, that people would just waft off and we might have nobody in our life. That it's always up to us. And that if we stop, people don't come in. That might be the realities that we're living through our belief systems, because our belief systems do generate the reality of the belief. And we get really caught up in that. So how does this all relate to narcissistic abuse? It's really quite fascinating how it does. Well, the first part of it's really quite obvious, because narcissists are very attracted to givers, people that will open up their hearts and bodies and life and resources, and people that struggle to lay boundaries and speak up and ask for what they need. And a lot of people that do get with narcissists have this real fear that if I do speak up and be authentic about, you know, my opinion or my needs or what does or doesn't feel okay for me, that somebody will leave me. And in relation to narcissists, that is absolutely the truth, because a false self will not continue a relationship with a true self, because they can't garnish narcissistic supply, and they can't keep manipulating or controlling that person by, you know, taking away their self-worth, because an authentic true self won't allow that to happen. But what does happen, of course, is when we are authentic and we are speaking up, what narcissistic personalities will go. But what will happen is that we'll start generating relationships with people that want authentic growth relationships, where they too want to be honest and they want to meet at honest levels, and both people want to take responsibility and have respect for self, the other, and the relationship. So we start really dissolving the false relationships out of our life, and we start generating true ones, and ones that are developing into evolutionary, honest relationships of connection. So it's just so important that we can get down to that. So narcissists are drawn to people that don't do honest, authentic, asking for what they need and standing in their truths. They don't. They go for people that are more likely to want to keep the peace, not rock the boat, just keep giving. But this is the really interesting phenomenon about people that normally who can't receive actually can feel really comfortable in the love bombing idolization stage with a narcissist who is granting them copious stuff. You know, you might be getting things like so much attention and, you know, holidays and gifts and dinners. I remember with narcissist number one, you know, when we first met, he would bring me out from work and he'd say, you know, I'm going to surprise you with dinner tonight. And he'd come round with a bottle of red and cook the most beautiful dinners. And there was always gifts and stuff like that. Now, before that, if, you know, a genuine friend of mine had said, oh, look, you're really busy with this and that, how about I come around and cook you dinner? I would have said to her, oh gosh, no, don't put yourself out. But with him, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just so wonderful. So what was going on? What was going on with that? Why was I so able to receive everything he was throwing at me so easily, so completely, but yet I couldn't receive genuine giving? Well, the answer is really quite simple, because I wasn't anchored as a true self in my body. I still had all these lack of deservedness and all these, you know, painful beliefs that meant I wasn't whole. I was a broken self. So, you know, I was able to accept non-authentic giving because I wasn't authentic within myself. So it's kind of like, you know, somebody that works in a job that they detest, and at the end of the week, they love getting their paycheck. It's like, you know, so they can take the bad for the bad. So it was like my non-authentic self could easily accept non-authentic giving because it was at the same unwholesome vibration. That's why it was so easy to receive from him. And it was so easy to be deluded into believing, oh my God, this is real and this is, you know, but the whole thing is, as I knew at the time, or some part of me knew, I knew it wasn't, there was something unwholesome about it, but it was just, I was in this whole, you know, unhealthy fantasy obsession, which is what we do when we're not whole, and another not whole person comes and meets us with the apparent answer to all of our prayers, which is what happened. So that's why it's really, you know, bizarre that people that can't receive normally can receive in copious amounts from narcissists. Or this can happen too, is that, you know, maybe there is something that triggers off and especially I guess if it's happened to us before, and maybe we're not quite yet healed, but what we can do is we can get into this whole thing of, I feel like that's not right. I feel like there's something wrong here, but the narcissist can still guilt me out of it. And then, because I don't trust myself and I don't want to lose the connection, and I want to believe what he's saying, I'll go along with it. So for example, like a male narcissist might say to a female that, you know, you need to let me give to you. You're too independent, you know, you're not feminine enough, and, you know, let me love you, let me support you, let me give to you. That happened to me a lot with narcissist number 2, absolutely. And then what happens is, you know, we lay down our boundaries and we hand our power over and we let that person enmesh with us and render us dependent, so that later on down the track, we're going to really struggle to break away and become our own source, because we feel like we're going to die without this person. You know, they've been the drug dispenser of love or approval or security, the things that we weren't authentically a source to self on, and the things that we handed even more power away with. Or for a female narcissist, she might say to a male, you know, if you really loved me, you'd let me do more for you. And, you know, because he's so taken by her beauty or the sex or whatever it is, which is often a female's narcissist's most powerful, potent weapons, you know, he might, you know, open his hearth and his home and his heart and just let her right in and come and take over, and she'll enmesh with him and create that unhealthy bonding. So, you know, I hope this is helping you really understand this, that we've got to be able to healthily give and receive, but it always starts with, you know, giving to self and being a healthy, whole self. And then we can get into the whole dichotomy of, well, then if I'm a healthy whole self who gives to myself, well then, you know, I don't need to be given to from other people. But that's not true. It's so not true. Getting back to that whole ecology of breathing in, breathing out. And the truth is, with bonding and relationship, if we don't allow people to step up and give to us, they don't bond with us. So if we're not asking for what we want and inspiring people to respect us and love us the way that we respect and love ourselves, they don't bond with us. And there's been actual scientific studies that prove that when a human being gives to another human being, that they start creating oxytocin in their body, which is a bonding agent. So it's like a parent with a child, that when they give to that child and they tend to that child, it creates a love bond for them with that child. So if we don't let people come in and give to us, well then they can't bond with us. They can't really fall in love with us. And we might be scared of that. We might have issues from our childhood around that, where we felt control with love, that we felt that when people did stuff for us, that there was always a condition attached to that. And that means, I did that for you, now you need to, or you should do this for me. And of course, as children, that felt really unwholesome to us. We knew that that was conditional love, and it felt like imprisonment, it felt like entrapment, it felt like unhealthy enmeshment. And we really were quite repulsed by that. So that became a big turn-off in our life, letting people give to us, because we thought, well, ugh, what's that going to mean? What's the agenda with that? You know, what do I have to do with that? Or we might have experienced a lot of guilt when we were a child about receiving, you know, well, you got that and you're now really a selfish little girl because you don't do this. So we might have this whole thing that every time anybody does give to us, we get struck with all this horrible guilt, and we think, oh my gosh, how do I have to reciprocate? How do I have to make it up to them? What do I have to do now? So we can see how this all gets really quite screwy. So how about we do a little exercise together that can really start to unravel this and heal this? And this is what I want you to do. And like all the exercises I take you through in my video, you can pause the video so that you can really, you know, put the time and the effort into it, but I'm going to give you the structure of it in the video. So what it is it's you sitting with yourself and just taking a few deep breaths and opening your body, and then come inside your body and just close your eyes. And we're going to create a statement, a goal, which is, I deserve to receive simply because I exist. And when you do that, you say that statement, your body, we're going to set the intention, your body is going to light up in relation somewhere within your body to that statement. So it could be in your heart or your solar plexus or your back, or it could be just such a big light up, you feel it under your skin everywhere. And that energy that you feel in your body, when you connect to it, we're going to see where you are with that goal. So a 1 out of 10 would be, no, I don't deserve to receive it all. Oh, that feels really like a false statement in my body. It's untrue. Or a 10 out of 10 would be, oh, totally I do. Absolutely. So it's like, where are you on this scale? You just need to trust on that. And I want you to write it down in a journal. And then we're going to say, well, let's say I was a 2 out of 10. That means there's 8 points missing, not allowing that statement to be true for me, which means I can't experience it. So again, we're going to go, where in my body am I feeling that block of 8 or whatever it is? It's going to light up in your body somewhere. Where is that block? Where do I feel it? And it's going to be like a heavy feeling, or an anxiety feeling, or a painful feeling. So it's an unpleasant feeling, and it's going to be in your body somewhere. Where is it? Take your attention into it. Write down where it is. And then you're going to ask this part of yourself, how old is this? And what we're looking for is, we're looking for a young, underdeveloped part, a part of you that originally got set up with faulty programs that are not allowing you to deserve to receive. So you just need to trust your intuition. It's not a logical memory. It's what's your body telling you. You might get a flash of 3 or 5, or a gut feeling, or just this random memory comes up for you at a certain age. Now, if this just feels like it's always been there, like it's been there since the beginning of time, it's ancient. And what that means is that you took this on, this block, this painful belief in your DNA from your ancestors. And epigenetics shows us that this is so, so true, that we're taking on our belief systems and emotional predispositions from our ancestors that have got nothing to do with the programming. But ironically, we hit the ground with these already defunct belief systems, and then the programming we're born into completely matches them. It's kind of no surprise, pretty ironic, not? So if it just feels really big and it's always been there, write down ancient, okay? And then what you do with your eyes closed and your body open and breathing, where your attention is in with yourself in this wound, you ask it, what is this really about? What is this really about? And just with your body open and breathing, allow the information to come up for you. So it's going to be stuff like, if I ask for what I want, people are going to leave me. It could be, I'm really bad, I don't deserve anything, or whatever it is. Or it could be a scene that you're going to write about. And if you can just be with yourself, unconditionally loving with fascination, just like you would be with a young part of yourself who is saying, Mum or Dad, this is what's going on for me, and you just were there and present with love, then it's going to start healing, it's going to start unraveling. Because what happens is, when our unconscious wounds, which are all trapped down and held down in trauma and pain, when they're opened up and released, they come up into consciousness and they dissolve. And we start healing. And that's what happens. So in your journal, you're just going to write and write and write and keep your body open and breathing and don't judge it. And you start getting fascinated. You go, oh my gosh, I can see how this is just repeated and repeated and repeated for me. This has been my entire life, this stuff. And you go, oh my gosh, it was all coming from within. All this programming I took on. And you're going to start healing. You're going to start, that's what self-partnering and evolving ourselves and thriving is all about. And there are even more profound tools that you can use to locate and shift your subconscious into the programs that you do want to start living, which is the things that I live by and my community lives by. So I really hope that that has helped explain what not being able to receive sets up for us and how it makes us so susceptible to narcissistic abuse. And I really hope that this video has helped you. And if you want to go deeper with this and you want to join me and a group of other people orientated towards thriving, you can do that by checking out my resources, by clicking the button that appears on this video. And please remember, keep smiling and keep healing and keep thriving, because there is nothing else to do. So until the next video, lots of love. Bye-bye.